Okay, so today we are diving into something really unique, a collection of spiritual writings from the early 1990s. They're called Templum Magnae et Splendidae Lucis, Team MSL for short.
That's right. And the author's intent was, well, pretty ambitious. He wanted these texts to form the basis of a new world religion.
A whole new religion. Wow. And the origin story is just as unusual, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It actually started when the author was on a community enterprise scheme. He was working on these huge literary projects, things like The Great Shining.
Which he later said were, what is the phrase?
Verging on unreadable, his own words.
Right. So these Team SL pamphlets we're looking at are basically extracts from those bigger works.
Exactly. Repackaged, you could say, but with this really fervent conviction behind them this time.
And the way he distributed them adds this whole other layer. It feels almost like, I don't know, spiritual street art.
That's a great way to put it. Before the A5 pamphlets in Sheffield, he was doing something even stranger.
The phone boxes.
Yeah, leaving unique, handwritten manuscripts in public telephone boxes in Stoke-on-Trent. Just abandoning them.
Hoping someone would just stumble upon them.
He saw it as a kind of sacrifice for the enlightenment and liberation of the people.
So when he moved to the printed TME-SL pamphlets in Sheffield, he got a bit more targeted.
A bit. He chose what he called resonant locations.
Mm-hmm.
Places like libraries, churches, even Rudolf Steiner centers.
Still very low-key, though. Not exactly mass marketing.
No, definitely not. It was meant to be this quiet, almost hidden offering.
Okay, let's unpack the actual teachings, because they jump straight into some deep metaphysical territory.
They really do. It starts with this fundamental law. Things that begin must also end. Pretty standard.
Yeah, but then immediately, the paradox.
Right. The beginning and the end are one.
Which sounds impossible, but the text ties it to the power of a mind, doesn't it?
It does. It claims everything is actually eternal, and that past events aren't really gone.
You can return to them.
Through, and this is the key phrase, exertion of will within your own mind, which exists right now.
So the mind holds eternity. But wait, don't the texts also call the mind the creator of all folly and pain?
Yes. That's the critical tension. The mind has this incredible potential, this access to the eternal.
But it's also where things go wrong. A warning, maybe.
Precisely. It's the source of possibility, but also your struggle, which leads directly to the idea of God's immediacy.
How so?
Well, one text says, God is alive and creating through your eyes. How else could you read these words?
So God isn't distant. God is in the act of perception, of existence itself.
Exactly. Denying God, in this view, is essentially denying your own existence. It's all interconnected.
Okay. And this sets up that idea about humanity's dual nature.
It does. The idea is that man, or humanity, possesses two bodies.
A temporal one and an eternal one.
Right. The temporal body is, the physical self bound by ordinary space and time.
Your everyday body.
Yeah. But the eternal body, that's the vehicle for the spirit. It's not limited in the same way.
And the whole point of existence, according to these texts, is for that eternal aspect to achieve union.
Union with God, yes. And crucially, it's not just about blind faith. It emphasizes belief that's grounded in direct personal experience.
Experience of the spirit.
Mm-hmm. The spirit dwells in every person, it says, animating both mind and flesh. It's always there, pushing you towards the light.
Let's talk about that light. There's a strong element of late mysticism here.
Very strong. The soul is described as being capable of timeless comprehension of the light.
But there's a catch.
There is. That light is inaccessible to the coarser elements of being. You have to somehow escape the snares of space and time to reach it.
Which sounds quite esoteric, quite Gnostic maybe, but then it takes a turn.
A very specific turn. This is where the texts blend that mysticism with very traditional Christian elements.
Specifically Christ, right. I remember reading that Maroon text.
Yes. It explicitly states that Christ's death on the cross is the central point in world spiritual history.
Which is quite a specific claim to weave into this universal light path idea.
It is. It claims salvation literally streams from Christ's arms across all of time, past and future.
That creates a real tension, doesn't it, between this cosmic, accessible light and this very specific historical event being central.
Absolutely. And it parallels the tension between the universal goal and the personal struggle.
The personal accountability part.
Right. There's that stark line, all evil is born of my evil. It really grounds the cosmic journey and personal responsibility.
And it touches on the difficulty of loving actual people versus some abstract idea of humanity.
Yes, the challenge of loving tarnished human beings, as it puts it, not just some ideal.
So putting it all together, you've got these deep metaphysical paradoxes, this intense light mysticism journey tied to traditional Christian redemption.
And all of it delivered through this incredibly unusual, anonymous, almost guerrilla distribution method.
Like finding these profound messages scrawled on a wall almost, left in libraries and churches as these little anonymous art objects.
Yeah. Which brings us to a fascinating final point. The source material itself states that God dwelleth not in temples made with hands.
Right. A very biblical idea.
But here's the author, essentially trying to build a new religion, leaving behind these texts, these potential foundation stones for a new kind of temple, you might say.
So thinking about that contradiction, the message saying God isn't in man-made structures while the author is leaving these man-made texts around, what does that suggest to you, the listener? What's the difference between seeking enlightenment inside established institutions, inside those temples made with hands, versus finding it unexpectedly in these abandoned, anonymous objects left out in the world? Something to think about.